Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here. Got a great review for you today. This is gonna be fun, non-stress, nothing prison. It's prison related like always. My name is Earl, the review of him in prison. So this is gonna be funny. Before I get started, please check me out on member programs, YouTube, Patreon, Discord, our merch. Check out my book, Gangster Redemption, please. People love it and it is going crazy. Well, you know, whenever I see a show or a movie with a prison scene, my brain just starts getting flooded. So I had to do this one. You know, I love comedies. I told you guys that. You all know it. Everybody knows I love comedies. So with that said, I'm gonna jump into this review and show you just what stuck out at me.
You know the kind of guy who confesses to a crime he didn't commit so his ex-wife won't have to go to prison? The kind of guy who leaves his brother all alone and his friends with nothing to jump for? Well, that's me. And for the next 2 years, my name is inmate number 28301-016.
Okay, let's stop that. This made me laugh. Of course it jumps right out me. I love the opening. You know, a man who does 2 years in time for a thing he didn't commit for. You know, believe me, I've seen that happen. And 2 years is nothing. We all know that. But I want you to notice something which struck me right off the bat. Look at his number. 28301-016, which is actually a federal number. Look what his number is on his shirt. 120 something else. That had me cracking up right away. Obviously it's a comedy, but these are the things that just stick right out at me. Let's keep it going.
I survived my first night in prison, but I was terrified, wondering what the next 729 days had in store.
Do you know what struck me right there? Counting days. I didn't count personally days until I got down to a year. You do have people who do count days, literally count thousands, but I didn't do that. I only counted years, and then the last years, and then months, and then when it got close, I knew my days. There are a lot of guys who do that though, so that's kind of made me smile.
But I was hoping I'd be okay since I had my good friend Ralph with me to watch my back. Hey Ralph.
And I love it. Right off the bat, I had my good friend Ralph with me. What do you think you have? You think you could pick and choose your cellies in the prison you're going to? Hello. Not happening. Again, I know this is a comedy, everybody. I'm just giving you what strikes me.
Come on, out of your bunk. Hands off junk.
I love it. Right off the bat, he gets a watermelon, all this for the escape. This is just so kind of, it's funny. And I'm going to keep saying that because, but you know what? These kind of shows keep me entertained. And I hope they keep you entertained.
Hey buddy, if you're reading this by now, you know I'm long gone. I had to get out of this godforsaken hellhole. I would have taken you with me, but I got hungry last night and I ate the other melon. Sorry about that. Your buddy Ralph. P.S. I made a mouth hole in the melon for you, if you get my drift!
I left a mouth hole in the melon for you, meaning, I blow you or whatever it is. It's funny as shit. And believe me, you try everything in there with fruits, and I know it sounds crazy, but you know that's what fifis are all about. I'm actually going to do a video on a fifi. I know it might piss off some women, it might piss off YouTube, it might piss off a lot of people, but I have to show you guys how to make a fifi. I know it's sick, but the people keep asking me, so it's going to be something I think I'm going to do.
Turns out Ralph paroled himself and left me with nothing but a broken watermelon.
I love it. All these prison escape movies, they always have the poster over the wall. How long do you think it would get through that cinder block? Come on, it's so funny. It really is funny though. I get a kick out of that.
Hey! Escape with him, cell block 7. Oh, no. Lockdown. Escape with him.
You know, that made me kind of like, gave me a push of reality. First of all, did you hear what they screamed? Lockdown, lockdown. That's what I heard all the time. Lockdown, lockdown. And that is true. That's what happens. Lockdown, lockdown. And the beating. But they didn't walk around with billy clubs either. They didn't have that. So, you know, I didn't see that. But here they do. And they beat the shit out of them, which kind of made me smile. But, not smile, but it happens. And I'm glad they show it. That's all I'm going to say.
Move it.
Since there was a hole in my cell, I was moved to general population. So I went from sharing a private cell with my childhood friend to joining a 2-year slumber party with murderers and rapists.
See, that's the opposite. just to let you know. He says, oh, since there was a hole in my cell, they brought me down. It's the opposite. If you're higher security in prison, you have a single or double man cells, depending if you're really at ADX or something really crazy. You got single man cells, of course. But you actually go from a dormitory is for camps and low security prisons. Even mediums don't have dormitory style living. This is dormitory style living, which obviously sucks. There is really zero privacy. It reminded me when I was in the military. I was never in a dormitory style prison because I was always high security. But in the military, when I was in the Coast Guard in boot camp, and I went to Alameda, California for boot camp in the Coast Guard. Back then it was Petaluma, and it was a dormitory style living, and it was a big dorm, and it was so funny. You could hear everybody at night jacking off or do whatever you do. Not like this, but it was just what it is, especially when you had watch.
I'd been to county lockup plenty of times, but never been to prison. And prison life took some getting used to.
He did go to the top bunk, and that does normally what happens.
A typical day in prison can be broken down into several activities. First, you wake up and make sure nothing's happened to your two most important things.
I like when he did that. He looked at his penis and he looked at his mouth.
Next, you head over to the mess hall for breakfast.
You know, this is so true. You know, you have to head to the mess hall when you get up and after your unit's called. And some shit there, man. People don't get how bad the food is. It's bad.
Hey, you gonna eat your steak?
That is so funny. Hey, you can eat your steak.
Then you spend most of your day trying not to get too bored.
7, no. 3, no. 5, no.
Look at the barbed wire. This is kind of a maximum security prison yard. You'll see certain things on the yard, but our yards were different. They were broken up different. All the yards, I guess, are a little different. Kind of the same, but a little different.
And finally, it's time for bed. And that's the hardest time of all because then you're alone with just your thoughts.
It's kind of funny how to have everybody crying. You know, I never saw that. Even with people, maybe it's just everybody has to be tough. I mean, listen, I've laid in my bunk and cried. I really did, and I'll admit that. I had some tough times in prison when I was in the hole. Things I thought was crazy. Things happened with my wife at the time. It hits you hard, and you don't know how to handle it. But you have to put up that front. And when you're alone, especially in a cell, a whole different thing than this. This, they make it obviously funny with, you know, everybody crying at once. That ain't happening, of course. Tell you what, you know, it's hard to sleep, especially when you get to new facilities till you get comfortable. Obviously, what makes you sleep is you really get burnt out. And I mean tired, totally tired. That's what burns you out.
The only thing that breaks the routine is when one prisoner tries to kill another. If you're lucky, you're not the victim.
Lockdown.
That's exactly what made me keep thinking this was kind of normal. Yeah? They got the towers. If anything happens like that on the yard, and I've seen it, stabbings and stuff like that. First of all, usually the gun towers come out, but it's lockdown. The alarms go off, it's lockdown, lockdown. Everybody back to their cells, lockdown. And boy, you got used to this. Oh, what the fuck happened now? You know, I never got to that point in there where you get mad at the people for whatever happened. Some people would say, motherfuckers fucked up my routine. Listen to me, man. Let them be a convict the way they are. Whatever happened, happened. You shouldn't be the one that's, oh man, fuck it, because what is your routine better than anybody else's? You don't know what that guy's going through. So I look at that a lot of times as someone, you'd hear, oh, motherfucker, fuck my routine. Fuck you and your routine. He wanted to kill the motherfucker. It's his issue. Let them fucking deal with this shit. Whatever happened, whatever it is, escape attempts or whatever it is. Oh, the fucking sports routine this weekend's out. No softball. Fuck you and your routine. You're in prison, man. Stick with it.
But no matter what,
You see the way to get down? When I was in prison, you had to lay flat on your stomach, hands out. Not like that. Flat on your stomach, hands out.
get punished. And everyone gets searched.
Another thing that happens, shakedowns. You'll hear about, and you'll even know who did it maybe, somebody who stole a knife out of a Unicor or a kitchen knife. If a kitchen knife ever comes up missing, I'm talking about the knives in the back when they cook it. They shut that fucking prison down and they searched that whole fucking place. Now, what happens when that happens? People's hooch gets caught. People's drugs, people's other shanks. A lot of things happen. But you know, you're a convict. You shut your mouth. You respect the guy who tried to do what he did. Period. End of story. That's what it's all about. It's the game we live. This is not true. They don't fucking go up your ass.
Thoroughly searched. Not surprisingly, prison was turning out to be a miserable place. But the one bright spot was visiting day when I got to see my friends.
This is so funny, the visiting. I'll give you a quick story. I was in Schuylkill, Pennsylvania, and my ex-wife came to visit me. And because she had on the same kind of color khakis that we had khakis like they had, and you couldn't dress like just the way you want. And just because she had khaki kind of jeans, kind of the way we had, they made her leave the prison. She couldn't come in. She had to go to a local store, or there was a Walmart. I don't know what back then. So I was in Schuylkill, and she brought my son up to see me, and she couldn't get in. She had to go buy pants, and she did. That's how strict they are with the visitors in prison. You'd think they would ever let this girl... Now, don't get me wrong. I love this show, man, and I'll tell you what. This is a put-together woman. I mean, just really put together. So, you gotta like that.
Here you go, Earl. Sometimes incarcerated people like yourself use their time in prison to get closer with God. Those are some books I found to be helpful on my journey to find religion.
The guy gave him books. You can't do that. You can't bring anything into a prison, period. You couldn't dress like that with a tank top on. There's certain dress codes for visitors. Obviously, you can't just bring anything into a prison. But look at the vending machine. That's what I wanted to show you on this one. They had vending machines. Back when I was in, the girls would be able to bring in their bag, and in the bottom of the bag, they'd put the same kind of peanuts, and they would glue it, and it'd be heroin in the bag and stuff like that. So then they'd go up and get a same kind of M&M peanuts out of that vending machine and give it to you, and really give you the one that they just made. You'd open it up and you'd eat it. Not me. This is how things happen in prison. But you can't just do this. It had me smiling, because as a man, would this be a hell of a prison to go to? No less a maximum security prison.
When you're the new guy in prison, everyone sizes you up.
That is true. They wouldn't do that, because they don't know what you are, but you're getting sized up. Listen, the best thing I think I could tell everybody in prison like that is your senses get better. You can feel tension. You look what's going on. You know your surroundings in a very big way in prison, that's for sure.
And they test you daily.
You know, the guy with the hat had me laughing. We had a guy named, wow, look at this memory. In Atlanta, in the summertime in Atlanta, it would be 100 degrees. We had this black guy, older, in his 40s at that time, maybe late 40s, called Grasshopper. Grasshopper used to wear a hat with a heavy jacket and everything in the fucking summertime. I'm talking 100 degrees. I didn't have a hat and a jacket. He was talking about fucking nuts. He used to run races because he was a fast guy too, and his bare feet. Fucking crazy. He'd walk around. You talking about out there? Holy shit. Grasshopper was his name. It reminded me, the hat reminded me of that.
Man, I'd always heard the best way to earn respect in prison is to walk up to the biggest guy and punch him as hard as you can.
You know, it is a fallacy, but it is something where you can't back down. I talk about that story when I was in Miami-Dade County Jail with the house man, and doing something to not incite it, but when it happened, I knew what time it was. But you don't just go up to somebody and hit them. I mean, people are going to look at you and you're going to get fucked up, and you have no idea. You might get killed. And it has nothing to do with size, to be honest. It really doesn't. Oh, this is a big motherfucker.
The problem is, gangs in prison are divided up like my dad's sock drawer.
That is true. People in prison are divided up into groups, to race, to ethnicity, even to location. Guys from Atlanta, New Jersey, or North Carolina, things are stuff like that.
I was too white to join the Latino gang, the Asian gang, or the black gang, and not white enough to join the albino gang.
That was funny, the albino gang. I never seen that in any joint I was in. I don't think I've seen that. I saw one albino in prison. Not that they're not there. Obviously they are. Everything's there, but not like an albino gang.
I'm telling you, man, we got to take back the shady part of the yard.
I love that line. We got to take back the shady part of the yard because they're susceptible to sun. That's kind of funny.
I had just about given up hope of finding a gang to join when Finally, I saw a crowd I thought I could hang with. The old-timers.
There are old-timers in prison, and believe me, but they don't even group together. Very rarely, they're mostly readers. Actually, you'll see some of them walk to the yard together, two old guys, but you're not gonna see this. This is kind of funny.
And then I realized the reason these guys let me in their gang wasn't for my survival, it was for theirs.
Not taking on us anymore, you big palooka. We got us some young blood now. Whew. Get him, Earl!
You know, that had me laughing because it's actually true. Just because you're old doesn't give you a pass. Prison, they'll be tried. You can't, whether you're disabled, whether you're doing something, you can't disrespect other people. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you are, age, race, anything. You don't disrespect people. Period. It's all about respect.
I learned things like two fat guys sitting on a bench didn't have to be scary. They could also be a nice shady place to hide and play cards.
That is funny, the two fat guys. And I'm looking at the yard, the way I look at the yard, and it's kind of pretty cool the way they got it set up. Obviously, there's stuff all around. And believe it or not, this cover made me laugh because we would do this cover to take a shank out of your ass after you suitcase it and put it in a wooden handle that you got on the yard. I did that where guys would surround you and you go down like you're tying your sneaker and you take it out of your ass. And then you have your shank.
And if you didn't mind scorching hot water and wrinkled feet.
When he said this, scorching hot water, I was in prison where they would fuck with you and leave the water on so hot you couldn't take a shower. Or they'd make it so cold your dick would shrivel up to nothing, which nobody gave a fuck. As long as you had a shower. And we didn't have the showers like this. We didn't have an open dorm shower, only in Lewisburg and when I was on J Block in Lewisburg. Other than that, we had actual separate showers where they could actually lock you in the shower if they had to.
You could hide out in the showers practically all day. And if you can deal with not chewing your food and little indigestion, you don't have to spit on your lunch so no one will take it from you.
And you'll see people get together, you know, new guy get with another new guy or whatever it is, or a little guy's on the yard a little bit longer or stuff like that. You know, boy, you could spot new people like that.
Sorry, man.
No problem. You're new here, right? Want a candy bar?
Really? Thanks.
No!
You know, I like the way, first of all, they bumped into each other. The one guy says, excuse me, that's exactly what you do. The candy bar thing is another bullshit thing, but it is right. You're going to see this. You don't get in debt or, but there's people want to help out dudes. I mean, I try to help somebody out and stuff like that, not trying to get in their pants or any of that shit. But you try to help people out. So, you know, that's a little bit overboard. It depends. The big thing is drugs in prison. They'll try to hook you on drugs. That's when you get in debt. And I've seen that 100 times with young people.
Walk away. Walk away. What part of staying invisible don't you understand?
It was just a candy bar.
Just a candy bar?
You wouldn't be sitting under those bleachers like that, away from anybody, underneath people like that, without somebody saying something. Even the guards. What do you think this is? Where you get blowjobs or some shit? No, this is not happening.
And you almost fell for the oldest prison scam there is. He wants you to owe him something. Today he gives you a Snickers bar, and tomorrow he's gonna expect a Zagnut bar. Do you know where to get a Zagnut bar?
No?
Damn, because I owe a guy one. I don't even know if they make them anymore. See, some guy gave me a candy bar once, a real maniac, and now I owe him a favor. In prison, a favor can get you killed. So trust me, do not owe any...
That is true. In prison, a favor can get you killed. Or you get with the wrong gang and you got to fight with that gang, and before you know it, you're doing something to either get yourself a life sentence or you're going to get yourself more time or stabbed or killed or something like that. It's crazy.
In prison, when they want you to cool off, they put you in something called the hot box, which doesn't make much sense, but neither does putting a bunch of violent criminals together and expecting them not to break the rules.
Look at the hot box. Obviously, they're talking about the hole, and the hole is away from everybody. In fact, though, most holes are off the yard in some way. What I mean by that is, like, you can actually hear when you're in the hole, you can hear people on the yard. I always did in most of my prisons, because the way this structure is built and stuff like that. But it's not the hot box. This reminds me of Cool Hand Luke, and I should do a video on that. And they don't just throw you in there like that and stuff like that. It's not, you definitely wouldn't be out where you could talk to people. Can you imagine the shit would go on? Are you kidding me? But again, it's a movie, but they actually had to use a prison for this. They couldn't have built this. This had to be a prison.
I'll see you! You're hiding behind the fat guy! Now you're hiding behind the skinny guy. Well, that doesn't even make sense.
You see that? You don't run on the yard either. You get caught, and I'm not talking about a baseball game, obviously, or a football or soccer. I'm talking about you don't run. Guards would spot that in 2 seconds and know something's down. Just doesn't happen. But you do see the same, just like it is, you do see stuff like this. Most people have some kind of sweat clothes on. They do. In every prison I was in, they sold sweatpants and shorts and stuff, and you had sneakers, so you'd see that out there more than anything. Uh-oh.
Lockdown.
Whenever I heard that part of this show, lockdown, it gave me the creeps, but that's exactly what happens. You hear it just like that, lockdown.
Since it was my first time in the cage, I got out before Glenn, who, from what I heard, seemed to spend more time in there than his cell. To survive in prison, I needed to stay invisible, but I also needed to get Glenn a shiv. I was familiar with the different types of shivs.
This is kind of funny. You know, the board they have telling what kind of shivs, but it did remind me of how we made him. We made him different. We made pencils, shanks and stuff like that.
There was the sharpened toothbrush, the razor comb.
Not like that. That's not how you make a razor comb. That's not a real razor comb. Razor comb is on a little actual, the comb, a man's comb, not a brush. And you melt it, you put the thing upside down, you put the, blade for slashing. So it wasn't like that.
There was the tidy whitey mighty fighty, somehow made out of underwear. There was even one made out of soap.
That was funny, the one made out of soap.
But the one made out of soap had its downside.
The showers like that were the ones like in Lewisburg, but they weren't out where people could see. It was like you still had to go in this place, and there were 4. So that did. This tree here, also on the yard, that ain't happening like that.
Would you hate Martin Luther King more if you'd been Indian?
Okay, yeah. I'd hate him more if he'd been Indian. Unless he was Cherokee. Cherokee once saved my black grandpa from drowning.
I like the way they make these different groups look stupid. Obviously, they're making the white supremacists look like idiots.
I was relieved when a couple days later, Glenn...
I never seen that. I never seen dogs in between the fences. All the fences we had barbed wire in the middle of it. That area was... We had double fences, but that was all barbed wired. And it's amazing how that just sticks right out at me. Guess being in prison for a long time will do that.
You got it?
Lockdown.
After Glenn stabbed me, I realized 2 things. Until I did my list item right, karma wasn't going to let me be invisible. And prison healthcare sucks.
That is true. Prison healthcare sucks. You get anything wrong with you, I'm telling you, I seen a guy break an arm, break a hand, break ribs. They give you aspirin. No joke. Tylenol. That's all you'll get.
Okay, you're done. There may be some shiv left in the bone, so if your arm turns black, tell a guard. That was quite a shiv.
Thank you.
That is exactly true on the end of this video. It made me smile about the healthcare. People say, oh, well, at least they have healthcare. No, it's not healthcare. It's a way for them, companies, to make money off the system, and then when you get out, you have to go into the Medicare system or whatever and cost taxpayers money instead of having the system pay for it and they get a little less money, but they're not going to do that. That's a whole nother video. But anyway, everybody, these are fun. Come on, let's face it. If you haven't seen them, they're fun. And when you watch prison stuff, I hope you start looking at things just a little bit different, like I look at it. Maybe you can't, maybe you shouldn't. That's another thing. But I hope you never have to go. I really do. I want you to enjoy these videos. I want you to enjoy movies. Don't do anything to get yourself in prison. Have a great day, everybody. Please stay safe. Make good choices and help somebody every day. Have a great day, everybody.